Check it out one time.
Yeah, I'm winning. Nothing in my way, never slow down. I done made mistakes, but that's old now. Only better days I can show now. Now it's time. Yeah, I'm winning. Waiting on this day for a long time. They congratulate for the show now. Nothing in my way, only welcome to the winner's circle.
Welcome to the Winner's Circle. I'm your host, Dr. Yolanda Gamble. This is where we empower you with the knowledge you need to succeed. Oh, I tell you, this is a wonderful day. And I know you're looking over here, right over here next to me. There's a beautiful, powerful woman who is a trailblazer. And my God, the Lord has used her in a mighty way to really be a bridge from generation to generation as we approach the month of June and the celebratory time of Juneteenth, where we are now remembering the emancipation of the slaves. And I'll tell you what, it is time for our African American community to be lifted to a higher standard and even a higher measurement of thought. Oh, it is time for us to come together like never before. Bind our forces together, bind our tasks and our skills and our businesses, and finally be that force in the earth that God has made us to be. And I tell you, the woman that I'm getting ready to introduce to you is that one that God is using to do just that. And you say, well, Dr. Gamble, why are you using God so much? I'm saying because this is a woman of purpose. And God had in mind a very special person to come into this earth when she was just a little girl and put his plan and his assignment upon her life to be a bridge from history, take us from history to where we are today so that we can continue to advance as a people. Well, as we're approaching now Juneteenth, there's going to be a wonderful, wonderful celebrating, and my gosh, I'm going to just say commemoration of Juneteenth. And she's going to tell you more about it. None other than my guest, my special guest, this powerful woman, this woman who is national and international, this entrepreneur. Oh, yes, she is. This star of the show, Miss Opal Lee. So we thank God for bringing her. Thank you so much for being on the Winner's Circle, Miss Lee. How are you doing today?
Real good, Dr. Gamble, and I'm humbled by your introduction because I'm just a little old lady in tennis shoes.
Yes.
Everybody else's business, and I'm having a good time doing it.
Well, you know, she always says she's that little old lady in tennis shoes, but you know what? You wouldn't believe her age. This woman here, I mean, anytime I feel like Miss Opal that I can't do something, I'm getting too tired, I don't know if I can do it, I think about you. You have such resilience. Such resilience. I'm like, God, how do you do it? You get up in the morning, you keep going. And even as we approach Juneteenth, you have what we call Opal's Walk, where this woman walks 2.5 miles. How do you do that?
Well, Dr. Gamble, it just occurred to me September 2016 that I'm 89 years old and there's a lot more I'd like to do, and Juneteenth's one of the things I know needs to be a national holiday. So
yes.
I gathered some people at my church, my pastor and the church musicians and county commissioner and a school board trustee and others. Mm-hmm. And we had a little ceremony. And I left that church and walked 2.5 miles to symbolize that the enslaved in Texas didn't know they were free for 2.5 years.
Wow.
And so the next morning I started where I left off. And do you know, I walked through Arlington and Grand Prairie and Dallas and Box Springs and Chopper before my team said, it's not going to be like that. And their reasoning was someone had promised us the use of an RV so that I wouldn't have to go to the hotels or back home. Mm-hmm. And they reneged. They decided what I was doing was too political. And
so are you saying they did not make your way easier for you?
Oh, not by a long shot.
Wow.
So my team says you will only go where there are Juneteenth observations or celebration, and you'll only go if you're invited. Dr. Gamble, I was invited all over these United States. I was invited to Shreveport and Texarkana and Little Rock and that's Denver and Colorado Springs. I was invited to Atlanta, and if I tell you, I was invited all over. I was, and I got to Washington January the 10th, 2017. Now, we had asked President Obama to walk with us from the Frederick Douglass House to the Capitol, but he was in Chicago. That didn't happen. I didn't get what I wanted, and so I keep on walking. I keep on talking because I'm going to be sure Juneteenth is a national holiday.
Miss Opal, I understand that you have walked 2.5 miles, which is so amazing to me. You've been doing this for a while, haven't you?
Yes, I have. And after that trip to Washington, I came home and I got these calls from groups, people who are observing Juneteenth, and not just on Juneteenth. We are wanting people to be aware that freedom is something that we have to pursue every day of our lives.
Will you say that again?
Freedom is something we have to pursue every day of our lives.
Every day of our lives.
Yes, because we're not free yet.
Wow.
So I've been able to go to various groups, and this past September, we took 1,500,000 signatures to Congress to let them know that it was just not one little old lady in tennis shoes wanting Juneteenth to be a national holiday. Now, there is a Juneteenth, a National Juneteenth Observance Foundation, and I'm a part of that group, and we're working extremely hard to get Juneteenth made a national holiday.
Well, it's very important that Juneteenth becomes a national holiday because so many people are not aware of the importance of the struggle that so many Black people had, right? And did you? I think you said that in the state of Texas, it was 2 years after the
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
After the Emancipation Proclamation that General Gordon Granger made his way to Galveston. He had about 7,000 Black troops out of New York and places up north. And they began to tell the people on the 19th day of June that the enslaved were free. And when the enslaved found out about it, they started celebrating. And we've been celebrating ever since.
We've been celebrating ever since. So this is really, really good news. And hey, the news is spreading. And let me ask you this. Are you feeling more and more encouraged each and every year as more of the states have come on? Now, I had to just even jot this down in our notes, have officially made the days of observing Juneteenth now 48 states out of the 50. Are you feeling encouraged by that?
I am. I really am.
Yes.
And I'm encouraged because the young people are taking notice.
Yes.
There are so many disparities that we need to address, that each nationality, each group, each ethnic group should be about the business of working together to dispel the disparities that exist.
Yes.
And I'm talking about our schools need to tell the truth about our past so that we can make decisions and not have that happen again to us.
That's true.
I think our health system needs to be corrected so everybody gets a chance to live.
Yes.
And then jobs and joblessness. Some people don't get paid the same that others do for the same cotton picking job. I'm thinking climate change. if we don't address climate change, we're going to all be annihilated.
I agree.
But we can do these things. We can work together and get things done. And that's what I'm advocating, that we work as a group. If you know anything about the Underground Railroad, it took people like Lord Garrison, Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, all these people who worked in concert
Yes.
to get the enslaved carried through that Underground Railroad. And some people aren't aware that there was an Underground Railroad that went to Mexico.
Oh.
Because Mexico had abolished slavery years before the United States did.
There is so much history that has been lost down through the years. And of course, we're looking at decades that have passed. And you mentioned about the importance for the truth to be told in our schools, all the way from what? Grade school to college as well. What has been your experience when you're dealing with the schools and the educational system?
Well, I've not had a bad experience with them. And in the system, Fort Worth ISD, I have had the superintendent and the principals of the school join the bandwagon. And we feel that we're going to get things in our libraries too. Our book, our Juneteenth book.
Mm-hmm. And you have 2 books here that you have personally written.
Oh,
In one book. I apologize. One book. I have 2 here, but this is one that you promote. But this is actually your book.
yes.
Oh, wow, this is amazing. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. But
How awesome is this? And look how beautiful it is. Very well done. And certainly I'm sure people are just wanting to purchase this book as well, because they need their families to know, their children to know about this history.
I'm saying to people, if people have been taught to hate, they can be taught to love.
I agree.
And
I agree.
I'm hoping that our schools will have the materials that will tell the children what actually happened. We're not trying to make anybody feel that it's their responsibility now. They weren't here when that happened. I wasn't here when it happened.
Yeah.
But I think we can do something about the things
Yes.
that are still happening because of what happened in slavery. We've still got that to work around. We've still got that to do something about.
Yes. And one thing that I appreciate about you, you're doing something about it. You have written this book, and this book is going into the schools. Oh, yes. I prophesy that. I don't mind speaking things into existence because I know that our words are seed, right? And so I'm saying now that this book will go into the elementary schools. It will go into the grade schools, and that our children will begin to know the truth about the history of our African Americans. This is such a powerfully written book. I have a copy, and I'm going to encourage all of my audience to get a copy of this book. Now, you can go to your website, right? You can go to your website and hey, I may just bring in, how about I bring in your granddaughter, who is your assistant,
Yes.
executive assistant, to tell us even more about that. Would you do that? Just come on in and just tell us about it. Just come into the camera. And I want you also to see the back of this. And here's your beautiful picture. Isn't that awesome? Here's your beautiful picture. And it has children, and it has the grandmother teaching the next generation. Oh, how precious this is. This is so powerful. The next generation, everything they need to know about themselves and about the history. Now, you can get this book. I'm telling you, it's available right now. And I know many of you would want a signed copy, but you may not be able to get a signed copy. So don't let that hinder you. Go ahead and pick up a copy. It's very important that you do that as we're in June, the month of June. This is the highlighted month of June so that we can begin to support and get behind what you're doing. Now, there is also, before we get in now, look behind me. This is the executive assistant. I just gave you a title. You probably have a much grander title than what I'm giving you. This is my sister Dion, and she's going to give you the website as to how you can get this information and also do some other things. Now, we are also in a petition, right? There's so many more signatures. Mm-hmm. Am I correct?
Right.
Tell us about that.
At opalswalktodc.com, that's Miss Opal's website. There you will be able to sign her petition. Now, her petition she launched in 2019, and we did take 1.5 million signatures to DC in September of 2020. 1.5.
That is awesome.
But we want 3 million. So we need another 1.5 million signatures.
I think we can get it this year.
I think we can.
We can get it this year, right?
Another 1.5, so she'll have a total of 3 million signatures to take to Congress to show that people still want Juneteenth to be a national holiday.
Yes.
And so with that, we're just asking people to go to her website, opalswalktodc.com, and there's a link for you to sign a petition. It'll take you straight there, and you can get that completed. Also on her website, you can put an order in for her book. Her book is the hardbound is $17.99, mm-hmm. And the soft copy is $12.99. And so, if you want to have a signed copy, you can ask for one of those, and that will be $25 for her to actually personally sign it and send it to you. But the fact that you can also get it at your online retailers, Amazon and Barnes and Noble,
yes,
you can get them from there as well. So if you have Prime, go with the Prime. Right?
Yes,
get that
yes,
free
go
shipping.
ahead and get in there.
Okay,
yes.
But there's just so much going on, and this year we are actually launching her national walk. So while she is walking here,
yes,
okay, at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time,
okay,
we're asking people to walk on the West Coast at 11, on the East Coast at 8, and in the mountain at 9, at the same time as Opal is, and hashtag and put in Opal's Walk in their hashtag to say, I walked with Miss Opal today. Yes. All right. So now, whereas she's going to be doing 2.5 miles here, they can do it on their treadmill. They can do it on their track.
How creative is that?
They can do it wherever they are as a group, with your family, with your church.
I like that.
And so it's got a race roster registration, and what that does is it helps to, as a fundraiser, to help move her about the country. So after we finish here, she's going to go to Evanston, Illinois, because they want to celebrate Juneteenth on the 4th of July. So they've asked Miss Opal to come there and celebrate Juneteenth and to walk with them there. So she's still moving. She's got South Carolina again in August. They've asked her to do a walk in August. So Juneteenth doesn't stop in June for Miss Opal.
Oh,
okay.
That's
doesn't
news.
Stop
that's news.
Because Juneteenth is about making sure it becomes legislation.
That's it.
And making sure that people are aware.
Yes.
Which means you got to educate and you got to talk about it more than just in June. Mm-hmm. You got to get ready for it.
That's
right.
How
so
you do
we're
it.
hoping to inspire others to have Juneteenth celebrations wherever they are. By saying, I didn't know about that. Let me go study, and then I can have one in my community. Yeah. All right? So that's the educational part of Juneteenth. As she said, Juneteenth is not just a festival.
It's not. And that's what it's been for many, many years.
Right.
But now we're changing the trajectory of this whole mission of, my gosh.
Because if once it's a holiday, it becomes on the calendar.
That's it.
And then once it's on the calendar, you got to know how to celebrate it. Teachers have now got to figure out how to make their bulletin boards.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
The daycares have got to have things in the summer for the kids because school will be out. Yeah. So that now gives you an opportunity to study and to learn about Juneteenth. Yes. So like people say, well, why make it a national holiday? Isn't that just a Texas thing? Why?
It's not just a Texas thing.
But if we are having a single day to commemorate the abolition of slavery,
yes,
I mean, it happened in several places, right? Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation really only let the slaves in the states that were in rebellion, all right, go free. Okay, there were still states that did not secede from the Union who still had slaves. Okay, so those were not affected by the Emancipation Proclamation. There were then slaves that, so those got free with the amendment, the 13th Amendment, which was December of 1865.
Yes.
So Texas slaves got free June 19th of 1865,
Yes.
but there were still slaves in the territory in Oklahoma. We had to do special treaties with them because they were not U.S. soil, right?
Oh.
So they didn't get their freedom till June 14 of 1866. So we had to do treaties with them, okay? So when we say we were the last in Texas, that's a stretch because there were still some that didn't get it till the 13th Amendment, and there are still some that didn't get it to 1866. But all we're saying is, just like we celebrate Christmas on December 25th as one day, I mean, we should really celebrate the birth of Jesus every day. And as a Christian, you do, okay?
We do.
But we have one day that we commemorate that on, and that's what we're saying with the national holiday.
Yes.
One day to commemorate everybody doing it together, all right, on one day, and that would be Juneteenth or June 19th every year. Now, Miss Opal, what is your saying? How long should we celebrate Juneteenth?
From the 19th of June to the 4th of July. We weren't free on the 4th of July, 1776. And I don't want people to think it's a black thing.
Yes. Say that again. You don't want people to think it's a black thing.
I don't. Because
So important.
there's so many of us that are in bondage.
Yes.
One way or another. And so we need to be sure that we're all addressing the same thing.
Yes, I agree.
Dr. Gamble,
yes.
I have a thought. All right,
Yes.
I'm a trademark.
Share that.
I'm a
Share
trademark
that.
it. Because what Juneteenth needs to be elevated to is a concept of freedom.
Yes.
Okay. The concept of Juneteenth surpasses the date. The concept of Juneteenth surpasses the state.
Yes.
And that's why it can be national. But the concept of freedom that Juneteenth brings is the ability to be free from various things. So just like Jesus gave us freedom with being accepted into the beloved.
Yes.
All right. The concept of Juneteenth says that I can be free from the burden and the bondages in my mind.
There you
Okay, so I can be free from the crab mentality.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And the division and the strife that comes from thinking someone is better than you because of the color of their skin.
Yes.
So Juneteenth, then we need people to be able to understand the concept of freedom and be able to walk in that freedom.
Yes.
So that they are able to celebrate Juneteenth.
Yes.
They can celebrate the abolition of slavery as a good thing, not as a remembrance of, well, my ancestors probably held slaves, so I feel too bad and, I can't. No. Celebrate the freedom that the enslaved were free in the story. All right, and so Juneteenth as a concept of freedom is what, so I think we ought to say that I've been Juneteenth.
Oh, wow. And how
I am Juneteenth.
I am Juneteenth. Let's say that together. I am Juneteenth. That's right. And how we become Juneteenth is through education. We get free through education. We have to be educated. And this woman, Miss Opal Lee, is educating us through material. She also slipped on the table here. Tell us a little bit about this book. Why would you have us to read this book, Ms. Opal?
Because
Thank
Dr.
you so much, Dion.
Dr. Charles Taylor wrote this book a long time ago, and it's for the older children. It has better concepts. It even shows you about the first park that they made a pavilion for it. They called it Emancipation Park. And there's so many other things that the older children would have. I think it even has a lesson plan in the back of it. So I'm wanting children to be able to find out about Juneteenth as they grow older, and they need to start when they are so much younger.
Powerful.
They do.
Piece
They
of
do.
material here.
And so Dr. Charles Taylor wrote this a long time ago, but you can find it. You can find this book. Yes.
And no doubt we can probably find this book on Amazon.
That's
still.
true.
Is that right, Dion? Yeah, we could find this book on Amazon. And again, it is written by Charles A. Taylor. I'm just going to bring it into the camera. Charles A. Taylor and Miss Opal Lee. She encourages you to get this book because it tells you the history is very thorough, even though it's a very small, thin book, but yet it is power-packed with information and knowledge. And see, this is when we could celebrate what we know, right? When we get educated, why, when, how, all of those things, then we can encircle ourselves around this powerful concept of empowering one another, and not just the African American community, but other people abroad. All sorts of people should be. This is not Juneteenth. Once again, it's not a black thing, as Miss Opal said. It is a people's thing, and it's very important that we all come together and make this happen. Well, this has just been wonderful. I am so happy to have had this opportunity to sit with you once again. This is my friend. She's my friend, but she's also my mom too. We all call her Mom Opal.
Yeah.
And we do that because she has embraced us in the next generation and to empower us to be able to carry on such history. And yes, a trailblazer here, but we have to take that mantle and we've got to keep it going. And so that's why we're on today on the Winner's Circle, empowering you with the knowledge you need to succeed so that you'll know how to continue to pass on the good things of life, the good things of life. This is a wonderful foundation to build upon. And again, here is the book. You can get it. Dion came into the camera. She came onto the show so that you can know how to get this book. And then also Miss Opal encourage you to get this book as well. So we have material. Go ahead and purchase. Go online now. But don't forget, sign the petition. Now, there is another way. What other way can we support you? Because I know we can sign the petition, and Dion may have to come back along, but there's other ways. There's many other ways that we can support.
The caravan. Let's talk about the caravan.
The caravan, let's talk about it.
Well, usually at Juneteenth we have these fabulous parades.
Oh.
But last year, because of the virus, we only decided that I would walk the 2.5 miles. Those who wanted to could walk with me, and we'd have 10, 15 cars to follow me.
Yes.
The 2.5 miles. Do you know we had some 300 cars?
You had 300 cars following you last year?
Yes.
Oh my.
Yes.
What did the city do about that? I'm sure the city police was like, what are we going to do?
No, they were in compliance.
And
they helped us. Oh, yes, they did.
That's wonderful.
So this year we are talking about having the caravan again. And I think Dion's told you that if we start at 10 o'clock here in Fort Worth, it's going to be 8 o'clock in LA. It's going to be 11 o'clock in Philadelphia. It's going to be 9 o'clock in Atlanta. We'll all start about the same time.
Yes.
And then we'll have these things that shows in your city what we're doing in this city. And it'll be fabulous.
It's going to be wonderful. The video is going to be great. Well, as you can see, we're gearing up. We're gearing up. Oh, yes, we're revving up these powerful times. And I tell you what, you want to be a part. You want to be a part. Miss Opal, I know you have, there may be some final remarks, and we will certainly want to hear what else. What else do you want us to know about Juneteenth?
I want
and the
every
celebration?
person who hears my voice to talk to your congressman, your congresswoman, your representative. Let them know that when the votes are going to be cast for the bill in the Senate and in the House, it's up to your congressman and your representative to be on tap, to be in our corner. So call them.
Yes.
If you Google, you can get their telephone numbers.
That is
you
true.
can get all the information you need. And it's just a little something that you could do to help us get Juneteenth a national holiday.
Well, she just told you how to do it, and all you got to do is just put your hand to the plow. Pick up that telephone. You always have it in your hand anyway, looking at it. May as well make it of good use, and call those government officials and let them know that, hey, we're on board. We're with Miss Opal Lee. We are together. We have bound our forces together to make this happen. Juneteenth as a national holiday. Well, this is the Winner's Circle, and I'm your host, Dr. Yolanda Gamble. This is where we empower you with the knowledge you need to succeed. And let me tell you, you have been empowered today. Oh, wow. Go ahead and take this information, put it into action. Go online now, and we're going to put it in the feed for you so that you can see where you need to go. Oh, yes. And go online and go ahead and sign the petition, as well as, don't forget, I'm bringing it back in, pick up this book. You want to get this wonderful book so that your children can have it. Matter of fact, this is a wonderful family read. It will just be wonderful. It's going into the schools as well. Oh, and it's already on Amazon. As Dion said, go Prime, right? So we're going to do this, and we're going to do it right away so that we can continue to support this effort, this ongoing effort. And I believe, boy, next year, we're going to be in a whole different kind of celebration, because we're going to get that 3 million signed petition of names. My gosh, I know we can do it. Can we do it?
We can.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it. Last year, I saw it happen. I saw the numbers going up fast. This year is going to be another one of those years. And so we're excited. Miss Opal, can't say how proud I am of you. Can't say how honored I am to have been sitting right here with such a powerful trailblazer, a powerful woman, a woman who is resilient, a woman who will stand for the people. She has not forgotten those who labored for us so that we can all be successful and build upon this powerful foundation and keep moving forward. Well, until we meet again, thank you for joining the Winner's Circle. Bye-bye.
All right.
I'm feeling real good, I feel brand new. I'm seeing brighter days, I got a handle. Every day I'm winning, might just do a dance too. The vibe in me done arrived, so the dance smooth. The Winner's Circle, focus so the vision fertile. All my people with me, sky's the limit, don't be jumping hurdles. Everything is whole now, nothing in a semicircle. Hit me on that phone line, welcome to the Winner's Circle, peace. Past time, yeah I'm winning. Nothing in my way, never slow down. I done made mistakes, but